Hi there, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra. Today I am participating in an upcycled bottle challenge, and this is hosted by three lovely ladies, Mama Dares to DIY, Terrarium and Crafts, and Sweet Urban Rose. I'll have their channels linked in my description box below, so please make sure you go check out their channels and tell them I sent you. I have an old liquor bottle here that I did a little DIY on it to break it and sort of cut it. But you can see on the right there that the edges are kind of ragged. I didn't want to show that procedure online because it involves lighting things on fire. So I didn't want to encourage anyone to do that. Anyhow, next step. I'm taking some Mod Podge, some green and blue food coloring, and I'm mixing up a little sort of aqua color, sort of to make this bottle look like sea glass. And I really like how this turned out. It's a little bit darker. I saw Casey at Coffee with My Sunshine do this technique, and it turned out so good on hers, but I did want mine to be a little bit brighter. All I'm going to do now is paint this in vertical strokes up and down, all along the bottle. And you want to do some thinner coats because it's going to take a little bit to dry, and then you'll be able to add additional coats to get the color that you want. I ended up putting 3 coats of this on, and I let it fully dry in between. The top of the glass was kind of ragged and had a few sharp edges, which I sanded down, but I do have a few little cracks that I'm just going to cover up with some nautical rope and hot glue. Make sure you go down to the description box and click on that playlist link so you can see what all of the other creators have come up with for this challenge. The next bottle I'm going to upcycle is a wine bottle, and it has this really neat old-fashioned stopper on the top. So I wanted to do something special with it. I am taking some spackle and I'm putting it on the bottom third or so of the bottle, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a texture that looks like cement or stucco. I wanted to create a little different type of texture, so I'm just using this dish sponge, and I'm using the rough side of it, which is like the scrubber side, to just pounce on top of the wet spackle, and it's giving it a stucco look. It was a beautiful day when I did this, so I just set the bottle outside for a couple of hours and it dried. If you're leaving it indoors, you're probably going to need to let it dry overnight. What I'm doing here is just rubbing off any of the little particles that might fall off. There isn't really a whole lot because I didn't use a lot of texture with it. And now I'm taking some of this folk art charcoal gray paint. It's actually called Maui Sand, and I'm going to do some dry brushing with this and another color. The second color is sort of a taupey gray color, and the first color brought out the dimension of the stucco, and now this is just making it look more like a concrete color. Then I thought I would put some stripes on it with some painter's tape, but when I removed the painter's tape, I really didn't like how it looked, so I ended up just painting the whole bottom portion of the bottle with that taupe color. I think it turned out better this way. So this last jar is probably my favorite. It's just a really large mason jar. It's got some really nice detailing on it. So I painted it a couple of coats of white chalk paint, and now I'm just taping off the bottom and the top where the embellishments are. I want to be able to do some different types of techniques to bring out those details. I'm going to use the Maui Sand color from Folk Art and just do a light dry brushing all the way around just to bring out the details of all those fruits and vegetables. I really love how when I take the tape off, I get this really nice, crisp, clean line, and it looks like a nice little border around the jar. You can see here that there's a little circle which would really be where a label would go. So I decided to take a small detail brush and outline and fill in with the gray color to make it look like an actual label. Next, of course, I needed to put a label on here, so I decided to take my white CraftSmart oil-based pen and just write the word market. I always start in the center of the label or the square or wherever I want my word to be. And I also start with the center of the word. So for the word market, the R and the K are the center letters. So I'm doing the K first and moving to the end of the word, and then I'll do the R, the A, and the M and work my way backwards. This way, I'm usually guaranteed that I get my letter nice and centered. I took a look at the jar and decided I wanted to accentuate the border, so I'm just using a single strand of twine and I'm going to hot glue it around the bottom and the top of that strip. I wanted to put a lid on this jar, but I didn't want to use just your traditional mason jar lid. So I went rummaging through my stash and found this little ceramic lid that was from a little pot that I had used for a different project. So it has some little beading right in the center there, and I liked that. I didn't want to cover it up because it was a really pretty little detail, but I did want to have the lid match the jar, so I'm using a bit of twine and just going right above that little detailing and gluing that on. Here's how my bottles turned out. I hope you like them. Let me know in the comments which one you might want to recreate. I'd like to thank all three of our hosts today, Mama Dares to DIY, Terrarium and Crafts, and Sweet Urban Rose. I had a great time thinking outside of the bottle. If you're new to my channel, I would love for you to hit that red subscribe button and stick around a while. As well, you can click the bell to get notified when I upload new content. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.